So a lot of you might know that we do a lot of stuff based around our community over here on the channel. From our Kickstarters to different videos and streams, our community has been one of the biggest just driving forces around all the content and products that we put out. And with all that comes a lot of really cool D&D stories that a lot of different people from the community have told myself and other people over here on the channel. From killing bad guys in ridiculous ways to just not maybe having the best playgroup at the table, there's been a lot of interesting stories that we've been told that I really feel like it's time to share with everybody else. So, welcome to a new possible weekly series, the CantripCast Community D&D Stories. This first story comes from user SlickSick. This is a story from my very first game. It was a Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign. I was still very new to the mechanics, so I accidentally made a half-elf, the other half for story purposes being a Dragonborn, barbarian sorcerer character without knowing rage prevents spellcasting. Not a big deal. Her name was Kine, for the Skyrim fans out there. In any case, all my information regarding the game came from TikTok memes. I had books, but my knowledge osmosis was from memes and videos. As such, I accidentally became the DM's bane. See, the very first thing we fought in the campaign was a semi-immortal troll who lived in a pit tavern. It was beheaded by a retired adventurer who was the bartender, but as his body and head were about to tip over, I made an athletics check and had a high enough strength score to catch the undying head. The DM didn't think much of it, until I accidentally went barbarian with low intelligence and attached the head to a stick, turning it into a Morningstar, which I could set on fire due to various fire spells and draconic fire breath. That could bite people. Suffice to say, a lot of big damage early on in game. The DM was okay with this, but it was clear he was trying to find a way for me to, quote, get rid of it. However, I kept stumbling into ways to make the troll head even stronger. So eventually the group somehow got a mansion that we were going to turn into a bed and breakfast, so I decided to become the brewer for the bar. In my earlier attempts, I accidentally made a concoction that gave the troll head a poison disease bite. Don't ask why I gave it the booze. This did come in handy when a group of rogues tried to ransack the place at night. The second was unintentionally getting a war cleric to bless it with properties to prevent decay and the like. As it turns out, it also accidentally made it holy when used in combat, so it dealt extra damage to the undead and the tainted. Something the DM didn't account for when we went to the catacombs a few sessions later. This was memorable because I only mentioned the holy property and character as a joke and my party dogged on the DM. The final straw was when I got my hands on silver in a mine from a fire/lava elemental that was magical in nature. The only reason that I got it was magical was because of my non-ironic questioning of the elemental, because I was stupid and so curious that I accidentally fed its ego by asking just how powerful it was. In town, I managed to convince the Genasi twin blacksmiths to smelt the silver so my party members could get weapons. We had extra left over, so my character decided to dip the head in it, because the troll head decided to insult the female Genasi twins. Because of this, the DM tried to get me to fail the rolls to keep the sentient Morningstar troll head intact, because at this point my level 5 barbarian draconic sorcerer was somehow the team leader and biggest damage dealer of all. Well, he failed. So suffice to say, and long story short, very early on in the game I got a Morningstar with a living troll head that bit people, counted as a magical weapon for purposes of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage, and had extra fire and poison damage on top of that. I could pretty much solo any being in 1 to 2 hits early game without raging. So, that was a lot. A troll head Morningstar that was sentient, could bite people, and do extra fire and poison damage is probably something that players shouldn't have at very early level. Sounds to me like maybe this Dungeon Master needs some Dungeon Master therapy because of what the party put him through. But regardless, it sounds like it was a cool weapon that made for a lot of fun moments in this campaign. So that story was about a weapon that was over the top, a little ridiculous, but probably made for a lot of fun. But this next story is very, very wholesome. This next CantripCast Community D&D story comes from Discord user This Is Us. As a DM, I always try to make interesting twists for my players. I once had a kid join my campaign, and she asked if her dad could join too. We immediately planned their characters, and this is how it went. We didn't tell anybody he was her dad. His character was a quirky wizard who simply followed the group around. His daughter played a younger ranger who all the older players immediately set out to adopt and assist during training. After a few months of adventuring together, her character was kidnapped by a demon that warned the party that only her true father could rescue her. Everyone presumed this meant whoever was the purest of heart or something. But nope. As everyone tried to fight the demon, they dealt no damage until her dad's character made his move. He was the only one that could deal damage and destroy the demon to save his daughter, after which it was revealed that the wizard was only tailing along the party to make sure his daughter was safe, and the daughter learned that she wasn't actually an orphan, but that her dad had been watching from a distance her whole life, only staying away because he wanted to protect her from the monsters who both slew her mother and were hunting him. The best part was the look on everyone's face when we then also revealed that the players were also father and daughter. It was quite precious and insanely wholesome. To my shock, the two of them kept it a secret for almost 9 whole months of weekly D&D. So, there you have it. There are some D&D stories from our community Discord server. I'm hoping that this becomes a weekly series that we can do. We've had a lot of submissions for people that want to have their stories heard by everybody, and some of these stories that I'm even reading now for maybe next week's video are really interesting, and I can't wait to share them. Some of the fun and the joy that comes with D&D is a lot of memories and a lot of stories that you can tell for years and years. And I'm super happy that there's so many people in our Discord server that want to tell their stories and submit them for these videos, so that way their stories can be heard by many, many people. So, what did you think of these stories? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to submit one of your D&D stories to be in one of these videos, then our Discord is open to the public and free to join with a link down in the description. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you next time over here on the Cantrip Cast.